to do with my money and I was earning, right? So KFC was on top of my list because I remember not being able to afford KFC, and so I went out and I would buy. Hi everyone, my name is Keisha Foot Mackenzie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you want video content on ways to stay motivated throughout life to get up and get going, I suggest that you hit that subscribe button down below. Remember to like, remember to share, remember to comment and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that when I upload, you will be notified. So today I want to talk about books that I would recommend you to read during quarantine. And from my previous video on ways to stay positive during the coronavirus pandemic, one of the things that I recommended was for you to read. So today I want to speak on books that I would recommend you to read during the quarantine period. If you have not watched that video, I'm asking you to go ahead and watch it. I'm going to place the link down below in the description box. So the first book that I would recommend is one, The Richest Man in Babylon. And I think it was Steve Harvey first I heard recommending this book. They had asked him what was one of his favorite books, and it was The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. And I decided to go ahead and read that book. And the reason I love that book is because it's very concise. It was written in the 1920s, so it was written in like older versions, like parables, for instance. So when you read it, you'll find that they use words like gold, purse, things like those. However, I found that it was very to the point, and it gave you 7 principles on ways to manage your money. And one of the things that stuck out to me was that you should pay yourself at least 1/10 of your earnings. And I think that that is very wise. If you're earning, for example, $10, then it's best to keep $1 at least. And that is at least, because some books tell you more, for yourself, and put it in something that will make it grow, and it will basically, and invest basically that money. So it's keeping that 10% for you, or 1/10 of your earning, right? And it also spoke to getting a mentor and finding someone who was successful financially who can guide you. And so I would recommend that book. The second book that I would recommend is Stock Investing for Dummies. And this book is for persons who are interested in stocks. It is a book that is for beginners, as the name suggests. It's Stock Investing for Dummies, right? And basically what stocks are is they are shares in a company. And the thing about this book, and the name of the book, Stock Investing for Dummies, is by Paul Mladenovich, right? I think I got the name right. However, don't quote me on the last name because yeah. Anyway, right. So the reason I love this book is because it really breaks down the fundamentals of what stock is, and it speaks to you not going off to buy every single stock based on speculation, based on a hunch. It basically tells you to look into the financials of the company, right? So if you're going to invest or buy into a company, read up on the company, see if this is a strong company, and don't just go ahead and buy a stock because it is the new thing, it's the new trend, it's the new buzz, and then you end up losing money. However, you should look at the company and the financials and see if it's actually a strong company before you buy into that company. And it also speaks about long-term investing, right? So if you buy a stock today, not selling it tomorrow, right? Or next week or next month, right? But if that's your thing, then fine. But it speaks to more value investing and for persons who want a more long-term type of investment. The third book that I would recommend is Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. When I got this book, I really felt as though it spoke to me. Personally, I connected with Michelle Obama because as a woman who have her own goals and dreams, then you're a wife, you're a mom, it's very hard to balance all of that. And I felt as though through this book, Michelle Obama was directly speaking to me, right? And it basically gave insight to her life and how she tried to manage everything, being the first lady, being a wife, being a mother, and still going after her goals and dreams. And another thing about the book that I love is she spoke to not just doing one thing in your life, and that is definitely where I was in my life. I don't think that you necessarily have to be one thing or do one thing. I think that you can do multiple things, and that is why I love that book. So it's basically 3 parts to the book. You have, first of all, Becoming Me, which speaks to her early life, her upbringing, and then Becoming Us, which speaks to her and Barack's relationship, marriage, and it also speaks to Becoming More, after her life in the White House, what she has done, and just finding her purpose, right? So I would definitely recommend that book. The other book, last but not least, this is my very favorite book. That is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I know that a lot of persons love that book. It is the #1 bestseller for quite some time now. And for me, I just love Robert Kiyosaki's writing style. I think it was very simple. I think it was very to the point. Like, for example, asset versus liability. The definition of what an asset is basically is putting money in your pocket versus a liability if that thing takes out money out of your pocket. And I thought that that was very simple. I'll never forget that this definition. So as asset is what put money in your pocket, and a liability is what takes out money out of your pocket. No, I used to think that a house, for instance, is a asset, and it is an asset, right? Because if you have a house, naturally speaking, it's going to appreciate, all things being equal. It is going to go up in value, right? Most times, right? Unless something happens within the area and then the value decrease. So it is an asset. However, if you acquire a house and you realize that maintenance is taking out money out of your pocket, if you have to maintain the yard, for instance, and it's taking money out of your pocket, it can become a liability. And also, if you turn that property into a rental property, for instance, and it's actually putting money in your pocket monthly, then it can be an asset, right? Same thing for a car. Naturally speaking, generally speaking, a car is seen as a liability. However, and it is generally speaking because it depreciates over time, meaning the value decreases, and it is a liability because you have to buy parts, you have to buy gas most times. And however, I believe that it can be an asset in the moment, because if, for example, you rent out your vehicle and if you probably put it on the road to run a taxi service or any form of service that puts money in your pocket, I think that that can be a liability. So I love Robert Kiyosaki's definition. It was very to the point, very simple. And another thing that he said that spoke to me directly was that you need to pay yourself first. And that is something that I wish I knew earlier in life, right? Paying yourself first means keeping a portion of whatever income that you earn. So if you earn $10, you put down a portion. Some might say 1/10, some might say 1/3, and keep it for you, right? So that is, yes. So I love the fact that he mentioned that, because that is something that I needed to know and I needed to hear, because I remember working when I just started working as a young girl, I remember going to KFC and treating myself. I call that paying myself first. So every time I got paid, I would actually go to KFC and buy a meal, basically. And that was because at the time, at the time, I felt as though I could do anything that I wanted to do with my money, and I was earning, right? So KFC was on top of my list because I remember not being able to afford KFC, and so I went out and I would buy KFC every single week I got paid. However, in Robert Kiyosaki's book, it speaks to paying yourself first. So in my mind, I was paying myself with the KFC. However, in reality, I was paying the managers of KFC the money, right? Not to say that you can't treat yourself, right? However, remember to always pay yourself first. It's a very good book. I would recommend this book to you. And you can use this time, which is during quarantine, because you have more time on your hands to read this book. Well, thank you for watching my video. I hope that this video was very informative, and I hope that you will like my video, share my video, comment down below, and remember to hit that subscribe button. Bye. Oh, and follow me